Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. Let's talk about the season 2 finale of Stargirl. It was called Summer School Chapter 13. Duh. I'll tell you, I'm surprised that they only went with 13 episodes. I suppose I should have known they would because they did a similar thing last season, but this show is short compared to the other CW shows. The thing is, though, I think that's good. I think the other shows get sort of dragged down by the ways in which they stretch out the story arcs and, have filler episodes sometimes. I think those things make those shows weaker season after season, and I think they would benefit from shorter seasons like Stargirl. I don't feel as though I liked this season as much as season 1. I think it was a little clunky. I think it went in story directions that it didn't need to, instead of in story directions that it could have gone into. I think they missed an opportunity to really use Jenny. Maybe they're trying to save that for season 3, but I don't know. I felt like they could have used Jenny more and explored that whole angle. But anyway, let's talk about this particular episode. It wrapped up, as I say, season 2. It starts off kind of where the previous episode left off. We have a scene with the young boy that I guess was the host for Eclipso. And that kid, let me tell you, is creepy as hell. I don't know how someone that young could be such a good actor who could do creepy as well as this kid did. Just the malevolence coming off of this kid is palpable when he's on screen. And I'm amazed by this as just a person, as well as a person who's studied acting and done some acting, and creeped out at the same time just as an audience member. So just creepy as hell, this kid. Anyway, he's at the opening of the episode, this kid, and he tells Beth how he has the power of darkness. That's what his power is, and that it's growing. He shows her that he's trapped her parents in a dark vision, which of course she finds alarming. Jenny awakes from having a vision of dark Stargirl, and she of course is alarmed as well by what she sees. We then see Yolanda back in costume, as Wildcat, and she's heading through town with Pat, Stargirl, and Shiv, who are looking for Eclipso, when they see what looks like a rip in the sky, which I don't want to keep saying the word alarming, but that was alarming. We then see that Rick has a setback trying to fix the hourglass, but he keeps trying, and Pat's friend, the mechanic, reports that he likely won't be able to repair Stripe. Back to Stargirl, Yolanda, and Pat, and Shiv. They attack Eclipso, only to be engaged by original Wildcat, young Shiv, young Cindy, and evil Pat, which was weird, in a very cool fight sequence, which also included a teleporting Eclipso. They keep trying to hit him and he keeps teleporting. Apparently what Eclipso is up to is he's trying to merge the Shadowlands with Earth so that he can rule over both as a combined entity as like a god. Dr. McNider, of course, was there as well. He ends up freeing Pat from his vision, and when that happens, the other visions disappear. Then Shiv, Wildcat, and Stargirl attack Eclipso, but he puts them down. And in fact, Stargirl and Shiv get flung out of a window, which was alarming. Scary, bad, not good, frightening, alarming. Anyway, Rick gives up on fixing the hourglass, but he goes to find the team and fight Eclipso anyway. Thunderbolt finally comes back from wherever he went to get food for Mike's friend, and Mike then wishes for the part that they need to fix Stripe and takes Stripe to the clock tower where the fight is, where we see Eclipso on the roof, and where Mike knocks him down from inside of Stripe. He had climbed up there to proclaim victory, and Mike's like, yeah, no, and he knocks him down. And they kind of fight each other for a bit. Mike's friend, meanwhile, asks Thunderbolt to electrocute Eclipso, but it doesn't work. And Eclipso ends up actually using Thunderbolt to take down Stripe. When Eclipso menaces the friend, Mike's friend, Rick arrives and sicks Grundy on Eclipso, which was great. He comes running out of nowhere and just boom, hits him. Only for Eclipso to put like a giant hole right in the middle of Grundy's chest, which was like unbelievable. Kind of just rips a hole in the guy. Rick then, of course, goes nuts and attacks Eclipso, but gets knocked down. Back at Courtney's house, we see that Jenny is talking with Courtney's mom, and she says that she needs to go to help. She can't just sit around and not do anything. And just as this conversation is happening, there's a ring at the doorbell. Back at the fight, Eclipso tricks Courtney into saying that she hates him by torturing Pat, and then says that because she's embraced the darkness, I guess, in that act, he can now turn her to his own ends, and he feeds her dark energy, which in fact turns her sort of like black skinned, at least half anyway. It also turns Cosmo black before he then uses her as a host and as a conduit to merge the worlds, because you know she has the staff and now it's a dark staff, I guess. It turns out that Shade is back from the seeming dead. He's back at full strength, and I guess it's because the Shadowlands came to Earth and sort of revived him, and he actually goes in and rescues Beth's parents from the nightmare vision that Eclipso had given them. Shiv and Wildcat then have a sort of heated discussion about whether to kill Courtney in order to end Eclipso, but they decide to try to get the staff away from her. But they sort of fail at it just as Starman arrives, the original Starman, and grabs the staff while telling Courtney she was chosen by the staff for a reason, that she has the inner light and that she needs to fight Eclipso, and that they're kind of fighting over it in midair. It was very cool. While this is happening, Pat is also yelling to her, you know, you need to fight this, and she has a bunch of flashbacks over recent events and ultimately frees herself from Eclipso. Then Sportsmaster and his wife show up, I guess Shiv's adoptive parents, having been broken out by Cindy, who had, I guess, called them the previous week, which we saw, but we didn't know it was them. And they fight along the JSA and Starman and Dr. McNider, as well as Stripe and Pat and Shade and Mike and his friend and Jenny, who all confront Eclipso, and he gets hit with light from the staff and the ring, and Thunderbolt, who's asked to turn him into toast, or to make him toast, which he does, make him into a piece of actual toast. So it was just a very cool scene where everybody's just there, everybody's on the same team despite maybe differences they might have, because they know this guy's bad news and he needs to be put down. And it was just very cool to see all of them team up and just like kick his ass. It was actually quite great. After this, the gang regroups at Courtney's, and Yolanda says that she's back for good. And Jenny says she has to go. So I don't know where she's going, and I don't know why they wouldn't keep her around. I want her to be in season 3. Anyway, we'll see what happens in season 3. But Courtney and Pat realize that they don't know how Starman is back. And Pat says that they won because of her, though, not because of him. Even with all the help that they got, he says, you know, it was really because of you. Courtney recognizes that while there's bad in everyone, there's also good in everyone, and that she now believes in people even more than she did before. Which, again, goes to, you know, Cindy showed up and fought with the team. Sportsmaster and his wife there, the criminals, they showed up and fought with the team. And, you know, it just said not only to the audience, but to Courtney, which is great, that people are basically good. And I think that was very cool. Starman comes around. He says he'll help Courtney learn about the staff. And Beth tells Dr. McNider where his wife is, because he thought she was dead or missing anyway. And she also tells him that he has a son, which he didn't know, before he officially passes the Dr. Midnight mantle to her, which again was very cool. Mike and his friend have a discussion about maybe starting their own team, you know, between them and themselves with Thunderbolt. And then we get a scene where an old couple approaches Cameron and they offer to tell him about his family. Of course, his father was Ice Pick. And we'd seen the old lady before, sort of talking to him while he was painting a mural. So I guess they're going to try and make a villain out of him next season or something to do with Ice Pick. Cindy approaches Yolanda and says she was wrong about having to embrace her dark side and that she wants a pass like Yolanda got so that she can join the JSA. I think that's very cool. I think Cindy's a good character. Again, I think she's a character that has some baggage, and I think she's more a good person than evil. She just sort of took the easy road, and she's saying she realizes now that she shouldn't have gone in that direction, and she wants to be better. And I think that's great. I think she's a good character, and I'm hoping that they're going to make that happen in season 3. Shade then approaches Rick as he's burying Grundy and tells him if he buries him in the right place, he'll come back, as well as that he's also going to stay in Blue Valley, which I think is cool because Shade is a kick-ass character. I was thrilled that he wasn't really dead. I think he's great, and I look forward to seeing him in season 3. He's really like the best part of the show. He's definitely the best actor on the show, I think, and I just love his character. Beth's parents actually reconcile, decide they're not going to get a divorce, and they take a keen interest in Beth being a hero, much to Beth's chagrin. They were literally like fawning all over her and saying they wanted to help her with her costume, and she's like, yeah, can you go back to getting a divorce because this is not, I don't. So we'll have to see where that goes. Next season, we see that Jenny arrives in Milwaukee, and that the deceased family that we saw in an earlier episode when Courtney was in the sort of fake Blue Valley, they're back to life. The magician kid that went to school with her and his parents are back to life, and they're now Courtney's neighbors, so that's weird. I don't know what that's about. And then the final scene of the episode, we see the lady from the orphanage who had narked on Jenny earlier in the season, who had told someone about her existence that I guess didn't know, tells a purple skulled individual where she is and where the JSA is. So she's talking to this guy, not on the phone now, but actually in his presence, saying, yeah, Jenny's the sister of the other kid, and she's with the JSA in Blue Valley. And then you see who she's talking to, and it's this guy with a purple skull and like no skin. So think Red Skull or Skeletor, but purple, as opposed to red or blue. But it looks like they're setting him up to be a villain next season. So there you have it. That's the end of season 2. I thought it was a good season overall. It was a little uneven, but I think in the end, they hit a lot of right notes. I like the direction they're going with some of the characters, Shade, Cindy, for example. And I'm looking forward to next season. I'll be back to review those episodes when they start to come out. Until then, my friends, I wish you peace and long life.